experience, and there are no homeless people. Well, now that they've been making these capitalist reforms and Airbnb has entered Cuba, there are actually homeless people now. There's a ugly start to a bad trend. There's a constitutional guarantee to housing in Cuba, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I haven't obviously I haven't been there in 13 years, but when I was there, there were no homeless people. And John Lee Anderson, who wrote the book on Che Guevara and New York Times reporter, lived there for quite a few years, and he's seeing that these capitalist reforms are having a bit of a detrimental effect on the society in Cuba. That said, when you watch the mainstream media, you hear incredible amounts of lies and distortions about how society works in Cuba. For example, you always hear, "Oh, the Castro's brutal, ruthless dictators," and they imprison political opposition, but yet
the political prisoners. How many, Dave?
Well, let's see. If we go to Guantanamo and count the number of 15-year-olds they've got in prison there, and who have been there for 10, 15 years without a trial. I mean, it's kind of when you hear them talk about the brutal dictatorship of the Castros and the hypocrisy of the fact that we have a prison there that we are holding people that they know are innocent, and they won't release them for whatever reason.
Now, where have you read that you know that a lot of the Guantanamo Bay prisoners are innocent?
That's I don't know. That's
you don't know.
It's been a while, but. Anyway, I'm sure it's in the New York Times somewhere, or the Wall Street Journal, or whatever. Anyway, the fact that Fidel has managed to, despite the United States trying to destroy their economy for more than 50 years now, the fact that they've been able to survive the onslaught of the most powerful nation in the world with limited resources, to me, shows exactly how strong their society.
What about the free college? What about the
right.
getting the doctors all over the world?
Right. In fact, if you are in college in Cuba and they find out that you have a job on the side, you get kicked out of college because they don't want. Your job is to learn. Your job is not,
And to live on ramen?
To live on ramen, Joel. So there's a lot of really good things about Cuba. The average Cuban makes $10 a month. However, you can go out to a restaurant. We ate at three of us ate at a Cuban restaurant, and it was like a 3-course meal, and the bill came to the equivalent of 25 cents in U.S. money. So when you hear that Cubans only make $10 a month, their housing, it costs about $1 a month, and you actually own your house in Cuba, and I'm not exactly sure.
But you still have to pay $1 a month
for 20 years.
That's not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal. And then after 20 years, you fully own it. And it used to be, and I'm not sure what's going on there now, whether they've done these capitalist reforms, but it used to be that you can't sell your house, but you can trade with other people. So, like, if you wanted to move, say from Santiago to Havana or vice versa, you had to like find somebody to trade a house with. So it's a little bit different than we're used to, but I mean, it was a system that worked, and it housed everybody in Cuba was housed, and so anyway, there's a lot of good things about Cuba that you don't hear about, and you hear all sorts of distortions and literally lies about. So
Where do you go for the truth, Halsey?
There's a guy. His name's actually Walter Winchell, not the Walter Winchell you're probably thinking of, but he lives in Los Angeles, but he travels to Cuba quite a bit, and I get their emails all the time. It's called Cuba Central, and he writes a very fair analysis of what's going on in Cuba. So just look up Cuba Central, and you can find really good information there.